Hi, I'm Ilma. In this video, I will be talking about the thing that we can't live without: food. I believe that most of us have never worried about not having enough food, right? Let's talk about the whole generation and our future. You might have heard of water scarcity, which has been happening in many parts of the world. According to WWF, about 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to consumable water, and a total of 2.7 billion find water scarce for at least 1 month of the year. It's pretty easy to understand why this happens. Exponential growth of human population, advanced technology and modern civilization that allows the exploitation of freshwater resources, uneven distribution of the water all over the world, and climate change that's been linked with intense droughts by the majority of scientists. Now, we all might have been taught to save water, but what about food? Is it possible that someday we could run out of food? Unfortunately, yes. Water is life, and in many ways, all of our food comes from water. If we're facing a water crisis, sooner or later, we'll face a food crisis as well. In fact, some countries have been struggling with this issue for a longer time than we can imagine. But the problem doesn't stop there. Many other factors have been contributing to global food insecurity. While climate change and water scarcity are leading to crop failures, overpopulation increases the demand for food, and poor government policies create unsustainable food production and consumption. High prices are the ultimate signal that demand is outstripping supply, that there is simply not enough food to go around. Plus, because of the current pandemic, the situation is getting worse. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has warned of global food crisis caused by measures to stem the spread of the novel coronavirus, which push governments to restrict the flow of food. I know all of this might sound overwhelming, so it's time to talk about the solution. There has been a growing amount of research aiming to investigate the best way to avoid food shortages. One of the hottest topics among the environmental experts is a superfood that most people are not at all aware of: algae. If you've only heard about algae when swimming pools are closed because algal problems, or local fish kill in the town lake caused by a massive bloom of algae, or the seaweed you find in Asian food, then let me explain to you why we need to give algae more attention. First of all, we need to know what algae actually are. To make it simple, there are two big groups of algae: macroalgae and microalgae. By their names, we can understand the basic difference between the two groups. Macroalgae are big enough for us to observe with bare eyes, and we often call them seaweed. Most of them are the green, brown, or red kinds. Microalgae are a large group of unicellular and microscopic organisms comprising eukaryotic photoautotropic protists and prokaryotic cyanobacteria, sometimes called blue-green algae. The scientific literature indicates the existence of 200,000 to several million species of microalgae. Both groups exist in seawater and freshwater, such as rivers, lakes, and waterways. Early in the history of life, algae changed the planet's atmosphere by producing oxygen, thus paving the way for the evolution of eukaryotic organisms. And today, the production of oxygen by algae is about half of the planet's oxygen, and they're up to 400 times more efficient than a tree at removing CO2 from the atmosphere. As one of the primary producers in the ecosystems, freshwater classes of algae provide food and often shelters as well for all land plants and animals, including the cows that provide the steaks for meat lovers. While marine algae are an essential part of a healthy marine ecosystems because they capture and use energy from sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to produce organic compounds. This cycle helps maintain the balance of life in the ocean, and therefore we can eat fish. Another important fact from marine algae is that they helped us during the Cretaceous, forming our major current oil and gas deposits. But these resources could only be renewable after hundreds of million years, so people are trying to get the alternatives. And guess what? Again, algae has become the promising resource of third-generation biofuels for cars and aircraft with zero emissions potential. But wait, there's more. Algae are also a source of active pharmaceutical compounds that can be used against drug-resistant bacterial strains, viruses, and cancers, not to mention its usage on various beauty products and health supplements. So, algae give us the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the fuel for our cars since then, now, and perhaps in the future. But How exactly algae could be the solution for a better food sustainability? First of all, algae's major components are also the components that our bodies need on a daily basis, such as starch, proteins, lipids, vitamins, and the list can go on and on. The more interesting part is that the proportion of those components in microalgae cells is way easier to be modified than those of any terrestrial plants. No wonder we can have various algae-derived products, including algal-based omega-3 oils, which have the same benefits as fish oils without worrying about overexploitation risks. Second, the efficiency of algae is impressive because the total biomass of the world's algae is but a tenth of the biomass of all other plants. And the cultivation of microalgae is highly more efficient as it can grow on barren lands with sewage, salt water, or even industrial wastewater. It can be harvested nearly all year round, providing a reliable and continuous supply. However, smaller scale production compared with commodity crops may lead to some challenges, such as low efficiency and high investment costs. But if the technology for scaling up production and increasing efficiency can be developed, algae have the potential to be integrated into food sources worldwide. Third, unlike traditional food production, algal production could be zero waste and limited in land and water use. This is possible because in the integrated utilization of algae, the waste biomass and byproducts can be valorized and recycled into various energy, pharmaceutical, and other value-added products or recirculated for algal cultivation. This way helps to offset the total cost of the whole production chain. And if you're thinking about the unacceptable fishy odor and color of algal products, worry not, because there is a growing number of food companies and restaurants and recent patent developments that are focusing on techniques to solve these problems to increase its application in food and drink items. Well, there are heaps of research articles for you to look into the feasibility of this idea. So, I personally think that why not try our best to have a more sustainable lifestyle, particularly in our diet, using the superfood algae. What do you think about that?